What's up guys, welcome to the ultimate kettlebell jerk tutorial. So for years people have been asking me to do more technique instructionals, and I always thought, man, it's so much work, like film a bunch of videos, make it beautiful, edit everything together. So like they say, perfect is the enemy of good. And now I'm just going to put up the camera and tell you exactly what you need to know, because that's what you actually want out of a technique video anyways. You don't want to watch it for like the beautiful editing. So number one, we clean the kettlebell and we have to look at the positioning of the kettlebell in our hand. So we have multiple points of contact with the kettlebell. 3 to be exact. We have the kettlebell handle positioned diagonally across the palm, okay? Diagonally across the palm. We have a point of contact here at the lower horn of the kettlebell, and the ball of the kettlebell is sitting on our forearm. So 3 points of contact. And that makes for a very stable position, because you often see the mistake that people have the handle not diagonally, but straight across the palm. That leads to the wrist being bent backwards, and you see there's this gap here, right? So you're missing this point of contact as well. Okay, so diagonally, 1, 2, 3 points of contact. Very stable. The wrist can be slightly bent back, okay? So the handle should be positioned directly across the forearm, okay? So again, not here, because it's not across the forearm, it's bending my wrist backwards, okay? In general, also not here. You can do that sometimes in long cycle to kind of relax the forearm. You do that in snatch, but in general, wrist bent slightly backwards, okay? That's the hand position. Now, for the elbow position, okay, that's the first phase of the rack, the first phase of the jerk is the rack position. And we want our elbow supported on our body, because the rack is supposed to be our resting position. Basically, we're turning our body into a natural power rack. Okay, so elbow ideally supported here on the hip bone, okay, the iliac crest. But you may not have the flexibility to do this, so it is okay to position the elbow either at the lower ribs, or if you have a big belly, even on top of the belly, okay? Foot positioning in general, forward, feet forward, or a little bit to the side. Not so much out to the side that it's standing there like a frog, because it's going to like really limit the amount of extension you can generate. So the width of the feet placement is kind of individual. As a general rule, shoulder wide, maybe a little bit wider. Some people stand very narrow, but you need good flexibility to do that. And some people stand very wide, okay? So there is no one correct answer. You see all of those at the highest level, but just as a starting point, slightly like outside of your hips, just slightly, like shoulder wide. Okay, in terms of the hip position, we want to, as much as possible, like I said, we place the elbow at the hip bone and we kind of lean back and want to like posteriorly tilt our pelvis, okay? So push the hips forward and we roll our thoracic spine forward, okay? It's kind of like this S shape. And this should ideally allow us to relax the arms and the quads as well. And especially with 2 kettlebells, you may not be able to relax the quads, because it depends on your like pelvic alignment and flexibility. So if you look at me, I have kind of a bit of anterior pelvic tilt. Okay, that's anterior pelvic tilt, even when I'm neutral. So it's hard for me to get into this position. Someone who has posterior pelvic tilt, this position, okay, is going to have a very easy time relaxing the legs. You can stretch the hip flexors, but it's a little bit of an anatomy thing. I made a video you can watch about exactly this topic. Okay, so Number one, we need to position it in our hand correctly. Number two, we need to find the correct rack position. Okay. Looking at it from the front, the hand is neutral or palm slightly forward. In general, don't have the palm facing you because it's going to like pull the kettlebell outwards. Okay. And if you, on the other hand here, look, palm facing me, there's this pull outwards. On the other hand, palms facing slightly away. You see, I can rest the kettlebell here on my shoulder and on my biceps. Now, first phase is the dip. And dip just means going straight down, okay? Straight down. We just slightly bend the knees and lower our center of gravity. Mistake number one is going too deep, okay? Why is that? If you go super deep, like with a vertical jump, you want to rely on elasticity, okay? And on the stretch shortening cycle. That means you're just going to make it snappy. You just go down just a little bit and then you explode up. Mistake number two is you often see people's heels leaving the ground. You don't want that because again, it's going to weaken your bump. So straight down, okay? Not too much, just slight knee bend, heels stay on the floor. Mistake number three, very, very common. People bring the hips back like in Olympic weightlifting. And you see that with hardstyle type jerks. That's not good. Why is it not good? Because in kettlebell sport, we transition or we transfer the power from our legs to the bell via the elbow-torso connection. Okay, here. So, up. In Olympic weightlifting, you can bring the hips straight down because the bar rests on your shoulders. But if you do it with a kettlebell, you lose this connection and now you have to hold it with muscular strength, okay? And the transfer force is going to be very weak. Yeah, those are the main mistakes. I don't think I forgot any. So we can move. Yeah, there's one more mistake. So people go the other way, okay? So they understand that they have to like keep this connection, but they start doing this, okay? They start leaning way back, and that puts your quads and your whole body in a very mechanically weak position, and you can't generate force from here. That's why I say the cue is just straight down without losing that connection. Okay, so phase one, rack. Phase two, dip. Phase three is going to be the bump. That's when we generate force and bring everything upwards. Okay, so we explode upwards. And the bump is basically just triple extension. So here we extend at the ankles, come up all the way onto the toes. Okay, we extend by extending the knees all the way, and we bring the hips forward. Okay, and also you could call it quadruple extension because we also extend the spine. Okay, here. And this is going to like throw the kettlebell up. At the same time, the hands stay in, okay, they don't move out. So if I were to do it with two kettlebells here, okay, my hands would stay in, okay, not this, okay. That's a common mistake, going out here. Other common mistakes include weak triple extension. I see this all the time. People like go up and they don't come up onto the toes all the way, okay? You only do like this weak as shit. So your calves are the most like endurance muscle in your body, so you want to use them. They don't get tired. So if you watch high level lifters, even though everything happens very fast, they always come onto the toes all the way. And yeah, another mistake would be incomplete hip extension. And that's something I have learned, especially when your legs get tired, you can start engaging the glutes more and think of doing a broad jump, okay? And use more hip and spine extension. And one trick you can use, few high level lifters do it, but you can experiment. You can during the bump, throw your head back, okay, as if you were doing a suplex in wrestling, okay. Look up to the ceiling. Sergei Runev used to do it a lot. And this is something that can help, but you need to get used to it, okay? You have to experiment. So we did rack, phase number 1, dip, phase number 2, phase number 3, bump. Okay, now phase number 4, the kettlebell is weightless here, around this height. And we still have it here, okay? Elbows in. We have our lock. We're up all the way on our toes. And now we need to under squat. So we drop everything under. Okay, here, bam. And what we do basically is we bring the hips back, okay, stick the butt out, the arms go up and straighten, and that's going to be our under squat. Again, ideally, this depends on flexibility. The arms shouldn't wander out to the side a whole bunch. Okay, I don't really have perfect flexibility, so maybe don't look at my technique as the ideal. Okay, looks like this. 1, 2, 3. Okay, everything is up. 4. Okay, that's our under squat. So here, from the side. 1, 2, 3. 3, 4. Okay, here. And important detail, like I said, arms shouldn't wander out. You want to think of your thumb pointing backwards almost, okay? So you don't want to like pronate your arm a whole lot, because it's going to like elevate the shoulder and make everything disconnected. You want to be in this nice screwed down shoulder position by thinking of keeping the elbows pointing forward and the thumb backward. And then the last point is going to be honestly just not the last point, but the next step is going to be just stand up to fixation, okay? And that's just, we're here in under squat, here, okay, butt out. And now we just think of pushing the knees back to stand up to fixation, okay? So in general, that's a good cue to just push the knees back, because you don't want to make it a huge squatting motion, okay? Most efficient to just bring the knees back and not create unnecessary elevation. So that's our next phase. It's going to be fixation. And then in fixation, you want to kind of rest a bit, take a full breath, ideally, and relax everything. And you have 2 options in fixation. Okay, you can either keep the butt sticking out. That has the advantage of shortening the range of motion a bit, because you don't go up all the way. Okay, it's just an inch or so, but it's going to impact your breathing. Okay, and the other thing is you can like put your pelvis in the neutral position like so, and it's going to allow you to breathe a little bit better. And you see both at the highest level. Okay, it doesn't really matter as much. So phases: rack, dip, bump, under squat, stand up to fixation, and here fixation. And now the last point is going to be drop back to the rack position, and that's basically just a relaxation of the arms. Okay, here, catching everything here. And to meet the bells, we're going to come up on our toes, okay, like so. So we use the elasticity of our rib cage and of our joints to kind of absorb the impact, okay? So if you just stay here and just drop it, it's gonna hit you kind of. And if you come up onto the toes to meet the bells here, like, don't do what I just did, like, you should come up only as the kettlebells are coming downwards, okay? Don't do a calf raise like so in fixation, no. You start dropping here, and then you come up to meet it, and you kind of absorb everything into the rack position. And that's it. I'm not going to go into breathing now. I can make a separate video about that. Just think about breathing all the time. Okay? So, once full speed. Okay, phases. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Okay, from the front. Okay, that's with a single bell. With doubles, everything works the same. You're just going to have to consider two things. Number one, usually you want to do a lock. A lock just means overlapping the handles of the kettlebell and then closing your fingers. Okay, like so, here. And that's going to allow you to relax your arms better in rack position because everything is more stable. Then the question becomes, when do you release the lock? And you release the lock ideally as you drop into the under squat. Okay, so during the bump, your hands are still together, and as you drop, that's when you release it. And when do you go back to the lock? As you drop them right away, like so. Okay, so you don't want to do this and then re-grip. You want to ideally catch it right as you drop it into the right position. And that's it. Kettlebell jerk. Keep practicing. See you guys.